and welcome again to Position Manager Training. Last time we covered the dashboards, how to look at the applicant tabs. We covered what the flags mean, how you can see the kind of Reader's Digest version of the applicants tab with their address, how you can see the Reader's Digest version of the requisition, how to bring up the full requisition. And so we kind of went over all of that, but today we're going to start getting more into Position Manager, or how you move a candidate along the process. One thing I want to point out, we did cover the flags in the notes, but these little circles is about the reference checks. So if you hover over, you'll see that reference check hasn't been started, but if it shows up in blue, it's in process, and if it shows up in green, the reference check has been complete. Again, we know that it's in the reference check phase. Now let's look at how we're going to move a candidate that was sent to you along the process. All right, again, a review: the number of applications they have in the system, the numbers of not hired status is in the system, the number of viable status, as well as the number of applications they have in a hired status. Again, application, resume, their information. So let's take a look at one of the most powerful buttons, because it's the one who actually gets time-stamped as you move the candidate along the process, which is how we collect those measures for that data-driven organization that we talked about last time. The Take Action button is how everything gets moved from one category or one step in the process to another step in the process. And although as a hiring manager you can do all of these actions, more than likely it's the recruiter that's going to do most. One way you can also is correspond to the recruiter, and any action that you take from this screen is going to be based on this applicant. So you can't do Bob Smith over here on this screen. Everything that is clicked in on this panel with this applicant applies to this applicant. One of the things as you start to interview and want to hire, update status is your most clicked on button for the hiring manager. And here you're going to see where you want them to go next. So if you've reviewed their resume and you want to do an interview, well, schedule them for an interview. Once it's complete, you can complete it here. Check references. That means you're moving into that next staff or next process step. So let's see, if we click on interview, we'll add a note to say this is the next person. And where it's going to do is going to then timestamp as soon as you hit this OK to scheduling that interview. It records that data point. Let's go back here to update status and say you've completed it. You want to check the references. Again, it's going to send out the notice of checking the references. And let's say that you want to now make an offer. As soon as you hit OK, this is going to go directly to your recruiter for them to make that first phone call, that verbal offer to the candidate. Now, if you happen to choose one of the others, you'll get another drop-down box for a reason why they aren't hired. And again, this can be for a variety of reasons. You know, they've accepted another position. You got reassigned to another position. They want a lot of money. They can't work around the schedule. But if you've decided not to hire them, make a choice on why, because we want to capture these data points as well so that we'll know how to improve some things, whether it's, you know, we need to improve our application process or maybe the application itself. We want to start screening out those that may not be as qualified as others. Maybe they decline the offer. And it would be nice to know if they decline, if you can get a 1 or 2 word sentence on why they declined. And if you do, please add a note. Again, just click and you got to hit OK to move it to the next step. Once you've decided that you want to interview a candidate, you'll start getting these types of notes. And you have to just click here. If you reply here, it's just going to go back to Dawn. But it's these links that will give you the next step of the forms that you need to do. So whether it's the telephone reference check or whether it's the applicant rating sheet. And once those are completed, those go back to the recruiter. So again, things can move on to the next step. And one of the reasons we would like to capture all of our data is that when we run our reports, we'll actually be able to see different aspects of how many is hired, our average days, our job locations. This is our dashboard for the last 12 months of our hiring process. And as you can see, we've gotten a lot of resumes in or applications in, but we get down to where we're hiring very few for a lot of openings that we have. We can see which one of our sources is giving us most of our candidates so that we can focus in on that source more. And then our average time to hire. And we're actually pretty good here at around 30 days. But some of our timelines really end up stretching out for a lot of our candidates. So we're going to do some process improvement to also shorten some of those timelines within the recruiting steps, within the hiring manager steps, and within the and in the employee health. And I'm going to bring up this master application report and show you. I probably picked a very long time, but and show you the data points that we're looking at to help us analyze our process steps and see where our potential bottlenecks are, where we can streamline, or maybe even where we can bring a piece of software in to help us, uh, again, shorten our timelines. The more we interact and the shorter the timeline with an applicant or a quality candidate, the faster we can get them in the door. And they're not hanging out there thinking, did I get this job? Let me go apply someplace else. So you can see all these data areas that we want to start filling in for each of our applicants that make it through, especially to sent to manager. I'm going to do a separate training on the assessment rating sheet, so stay tuned for that. And again, aloha, thank you for your time, and I hope you find this very valuable. See you next time.